Hello, everybody. It's Mary Lynn here, of Hard at Work and a podcast called Creating an Impact. So my guest today is returning is Laurie. We've had a great conversation earlier and love to have her on the show again today to update us what she's been up to. So she has lots to update us on. So I'm looking so forward to hearing about Laurie and what she's up to these days. So Laurie, go ahead. Tell
Okay.
us.
Well, it's wonderful to see you again, Marilyn.
Yes.
When I see you, I always think kindness,
Hmm.
kindness and heart. And
Thank you.
so, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, this is an exciting time on the planet
Mm-hmm.
right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It,
Interesting. I would put it as
yes, may you live in interesting
I'm
times.
interesting times that we are
Is
in.
that a
Yes.
blessing or a curse? I don't know. It could be
Yeah.
both. With that, actually talking about that, um, a couple months ago, maybe it's even longer now, you know how time goes
Yeah.
by. I was in Minneapolis and with a lot of Ukrainians
Mhm.
and Americans also, just honoring the 2 year anniversary
Wow.
of the war and the resiliency of the Ukrainian people at
Mm-hmm.
that amount of time. And, they are right before doing the presentation. There was an amazing man who has worked with Nobel Peace Laureates and people dealing with trauma and all kinds of conflict and suffering all around the world. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, how do we live in the world brokenhearted and
Right.
hearted at the same time? And
Mm-hmm.
I think, your work with heart to live on the planet right now in these interesting times is, so many things that we hear about are just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Just heartbreaking. Like just yesterday, Russia targeted a children's hospital in Kiev. You know,
Yeah.
that's
What
that's heartbreaking. How can you make sense of it?
mm-hmm. Take a deep breath. I don't know how to make sense of somebody's mind that insists that war is going to solve all problems, right?
It's
And bombing innocent people. I mean, what do we need
children,
that for?
sick children.
Right.
It's yeah, it's just so hard to understand. And I think with so many other things, I mean, in Ukraine, in the Middle East, in
Hmm.
Africa, in this country, and politics and global warming, and
Yeah.
just so much going on. I think, Marilyn, that we need the breath as
Mm,
kindness inside out
right. On the
more
inside
than
coming
ever.
out.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Inside out, because kindness to ourselves, when we hear these horrendous things, we don't realize it, but energetically, our heart is
Hmm.
affected. It hurts.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so to be able to do a practice, in fact, may I share a practice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, it is something that we just naturally do.
Hmm.
W- The wisdom of our body. The wisdom of our body to release tension, to release stress, to release sorrow
Hmm.
is
Yes.
many different types of sighing. Do you ever catch yourself sighing
Yes.
and catch others sighing, hear others sighing?
Yeah. And
Just so
I've been taught
interesting.
that the more deep breath you do, the better it is for the body to release.
Absolutely. And the longer you can do,
Yeah.
And also the sound that you make with it, because
Mm-hmm.
that sound, what that sound does, the sound plus the slowness of
Mm-hmm.
the breath, is it activates our vagus nerve,
Mm.
which is the longest nerve in the body, and
Right.
goes from the brainstem down into the gut. And so it reverberates and it begins to soothe our nervous system. And then what you said about the deeper breath is the longer we can exhale, let go, let go, let go, the deeper that we can take in that new life force.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another practice I would like to share. But first, actually, let's just take a breath and let go.
Ah.
And then with our hands, so that inhale up. So there are two types of sighs. There the releasing sigh for stress, tension, frustration, irritation, you know, sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a sigh of contentment. Now, the sigh of releasing is that letting go that helps to soothe the nervous system, calm the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sigh of contentment, like when you're petting your dog or your cat,
Mm-hmm.
or when you're eating chocolate, getting a massage, or something, that really, really is nurturing and feels good to the
Mm-hmm.
body, mind, spirit, is we, ah,
Ah.
ah,
Ah.
ah. And it's a longevity practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it releases, the wonderful endorphins in the body that tell the brain we're safe, tell the brain we're happy, and begin to repair and regenerate cells in our body, anything that needs healing. So
Mm-hmm.
those two types of sighing, if anybody listening
Mm-hmm.
would consciously practice those sighs
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day, it's going to bring about changes in the body
Right.
and help the heart. Help the heart, the brokenheartedness that we feel with animals disappearing on the planet, with everything that's happening. We have to remain wholehearted.
Mm-hmm.
Have to remain wholehearted.
Right.
So may I share a story?
Yeah, sure. That'd
It's
be
actually
wonderful.
it's a story that the Ukrainians that I've been working with
Mm-hmm.
since the war started, because my husband and I lived in Ukraine for over 4 years before the war.
Mm-hmm.
It was never on my bucket list, you know, to go to Ukraine. That wasn't on my bucket list. Neither was Kosovo, neither was Cambodia. Neither was a project outside Guatemala City. But my husband's a post-conflict psychologist, so he brought me to all those places, and they ended up being places that are just so close to my heart, and the people are close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, amazing places. But so this story has really helped Ukrainians and other people. And the
Mm-hmm.
story is, I think uh, Mary Lynn, that for years, actually for decades, I've taken groups to places of great beauty and light on the
Right.
like Machu Picchu, Lake Atitlan, the Himalayas.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
in 1999, for the entire year beginning in January, I took groups to places of genocide.
Mm.
And like Wounded Knee, Auschwitz, Tibet, different places. And I never knew how those places would affect me. I thought that I would be able to breathe through them and through experiences. But by August of that year in Hiroshima,
Mm-hmm.
I was at such a low point in my life. after, you know, being in all of these places and just witnessing the inhumanity
Mm-hmm.
of humanity to ourselves and to the planet. And I was at a point, honestly, where I did not want to be alive on the
Mm-hmm.
I really did not want to be alive on the planet. It was just felt too painful. And I remember being at the Bomb Museum, they also call it the Peace Museum, and seeing lifelike figures
Wow.
of people with skin melting off their faces and melting off their bones and wailing
Mm.
and in so much pain and misery. And I luckily met a man
Mm-hmm.
named Masaji. And he had spent time with our group. And now Masaji was 14 years old when the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima.
Wow.
And he was working in a factory outside the city. And he, because of the glass, he was filled with hundreds, even he thought thousands of little shards of glass. But he took off running to the epicenter of the bomb where his home was.
Mm-hmm.
And he got there, and of course, there was nothing. There was only rubble. And
Wow.
so, in seconds, his family was destroyed, his friends, his home, his way of life. And he was left alone with glass all through his body and his flesh. And he went through 2 years of living hell. And we can't even begin to imagine
Right. Especially
living
at 14
living
years
hell
old, right?
that he went through.
Yeah.
Which, if you think of in Gaza right now, in Ukraine and other places, people are going through that type of living hell. Maybe not from a nuclear blast, thank God,
Yeah.
but through their lives being destroyed, their homes, their families.
Mm-hmm.
And so after 2 years, he began to heal. And he began to heal by consciously breathing in peace, just
Mm-hmm.
constantly breathing in peace, and like our sighing, breathing out, letting go pain,
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, emotional, spiritual pain. And he did it over and over and over and over and over again until finally, after 2 years, he dedicated the rest of his life to promoting peace on the planet. He traveled
Mm.
all over the world
Yeah.
promoting peace on the planet. And when we met him, he was almost 70. He was this little Japanese man, and he was this being of joy
Mm.
and huge heartedness.
Wow.
And his story, when I feel in despair about humanity and our planet, I just remember his story. And because he has three things that he taught, we can rise out of despair.
Mm-hmm.
And languishing in despair helps no one. We must, for ourselves and for humanity, rise out of that despair, no matter what type of situation we are in despair about. So he was really, really felt strongly about that. We must every day, consciously, constantly throughout the day, cultivate health.
Mm-hmm.
What's important for our health? Physical, mental, emotional, our health, happiness,
Mm-hmm.
what makes us happy,
Mm-hmm.
and heart.
Right.
Cultivate heart and heart, because you're about heart.
I bad
Heart,
heart, yeah.
yeah. And for him, that heart was about taking heart. And this
Mhm.
was something the Ukrainians, take heart,
Right.
courage. like the cowardly lion,
Mm-hmm.
courage, searching for courage, and also kindness, compassion, love, peace. And also, breath is our fuel for all of it. Breath is our superpower for all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened when you were in your despair of because did you know you did not know this person that was doing the breath work. So what did you do to get yourself out of the despair?
Oh, I um I had a dark night of the soul. It
Mm-hmm.
was a real dark night of the soul where I became not just, mentally and emotionally exhausted and out of balance as I got physically sick also.
Mm.
I got hepatitis A. And hepatitis A is about the liver. And in the Taoist system of healing, is every organ and every gland is associated with an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And the liver is associated with anger.
Yeah.
And I had so much rage, Mary Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
about what we have done to humanity and the planet, what people have done to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was so angry. I actually at one point, during that year, I was in Jerusalem in the Wailing Wall, by the Wailing Wall, the women's side,
Yeah.
wailing. I
Yeah.
mean, just sobbing, just wailing and sobbing uh but what got me out of it? So I languished in it
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And then it was that practice of, breathing, just consciously, just knowing I'm breathing because the lungs embrace the heart, right? And so when we're consciously breathing, we are nurturing our hearts,
Mm-hmm.
we're strengthening our hearts. And so that was one of the practices. And the breathing in peace, the consciously just breathing. What does peace feel like? Just being in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And the engaging my belly, empowerment of breathing out, squeezing my belly, squeezing to get out all of that air, all of that stagnation, and then to take in a new breath of peace, of calm, of hope, of trust, and hold it.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that, and also, what I have to tell you, this might seem a little esoteric for people, but
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that really helped me, Mary Lynn, was I learned about a theory of evolution,
Mm-hmm.
and it's based on the chakras.
Yeah.
And so, the first chakra is our root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And the element connected with it is earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so thousands of years ago, when humanity was living in the energy of the first chakra, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal man, they were learning to live with the earth, right?
Right.
And then in the evolution, thousands of years later, humanity moved to operate out of the second chakra, which the element is water.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
it's called the sexual chakra. And so they started to procreate
Mm-hmm.
and populated the planet, and they started to navigate the seas. So
Right.
water was really important. First was earth, then water. Now, what we've been in for the last how many thousand years is the third chakra, the energy of the third chakra, which is power.
Mm.
And the element is fire.
Mm-hmm.
So we've come to the point where we have advanced to nuclear power,
Right.
the sun, for killing
Yeah.
and for healing
Yeah.
and for powering. And so what we are doing right now, supposedly, because the the movement between the ages, there's hundreds of years before you move into the next stage. And supposedly we are moving out of the third chakra power,
Right.
where before it's been power over.
Yeah.
And
Power
now
up.
it's
Power
been,
up. Beam me up,
yeah,
Scotty.
and power to and power with.
Yeah.
So we're moving to operate now out of the heart chakra, the fourth chakra.
Mm-hmm.
The element is air, air,
Yeah.
heart.
Right.
And so there's no coincidence to me that now all over the planet, people are becoming aware of the power of their breath
Mm.
and doing meditation and doing yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong and just all kinds of things, meditation, mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
to connect with their breath, the element of air, and connect with the heart. And, some people believe, and I want to hold on to this belief, that we are, even though despite it seems like all hell is breaking loose, just breaking loose, we are moving into what will be a golden age of living out of our heart chakra and connecting, realizing we're one, realizing we're global citizens,
Mm-hmm.
acting with kindness locally and globally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book
Yeah.
is Breath is Life, and it helps us to create
What
a
helps
great
us to heal.
quality of life, to heal, to
Mm-hmm.
connect. And so that's what moved me out of the dark night of the soul, is feeling like, I have a mission.
Yeah.
I have a mission. This is my mission.
Yeah.
And it is to share the superpower of our breath for healing and empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Voila, there you have it.
Well, I think we all go through the dark light of the soul if we don't know what our purpose is. We all land there somehow. It may not look like how you went through it, won't
Yeah,
look like how I went through it, but I
yeah.
think it's all there, and and some of us really have to go there
Mm-hmm.
to really experience who we are and what we're here to do,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. And some of us are lucky enough to be born with that, and we just know. So, but breath is like you were saying, without breath, we're dead, basically. But we need to use that breath to heal, to empower. When I got really sick in February, I had bronchitis and pneumonia, and I had to learn how to breathe deep, not just shallow, because when you're doing shallow, you're actually doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
So, right, deep,
Right.
deep breathing is what's going to bring the healing. And I think I heard some doctor on YouTube saying that if you keep deep breathing, you prolong your life because you're healing the channels in your body and your organs and everything, right? So
Yeah.
that's just what, I'm kind of
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, okay, keep breathing. So I have to catch myself. Okay, let's do a couple of deep breaths and learn how to expand those lungs because we need the lungs to breathe.
I think the capacity of our lungs is so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It just is so amazing. What
Yeah,
that life force, that prana,
right.
that's for every cell in our body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's quite the journey you went through.
Yeah.
The dark
Well,
night of soul.
what I mentioned how the Ukrainians relate to that story that I told about Masaji. And one of the wonderful things that has come out of it, Mary Lynn, is, my husband and I have done trainings with Ukrainian psychologists and professionals, both in person in Cyprus and online. And we're planning an
Mm-hmm.
in-person training in November in Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
because there are men that want to come to the training and they cannot leave Ukraine right now.
Right.
But we've worked with military psychologists and chaplains and soldiers, and
Mm-hmm.
they are saying that these breath practices, just these two simple that I shared,
Yeah.
are, they believe, helping to save lives on the battlefield.
Mm. Yeah, I believe it.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so one thing, if I may, because I know you have such very kind,
Yeah,
compassionate,
let's
uh,
do it.
and compassionate listeners, is I have a nonprofit called Breath Logic.
Mm-hmm.
It's based in Minneapolis, and we are raising money for the training.
Mm-hmm.
Bring the Ukrainians to the training, pay for them to
Mm-hmm.
be in the facility that a Ukrainian psychologist has found. And so I am willing, with full heart,
Mm-hmm.
will to do workshops, classes, trainings, both in person,
Mm-hmm.
um, to where somebody is, if they want to organize a workshop, training on breathing as best as you can breathe,
Right.
power of breath. And also, I will do online
Mm-hmm.
and have every cent that is brought in goes to bringing the Ukrainians to that training.
Right. Right. Good.
So
Well, we should do
they
that.
can go to info@breathlogic.org.
Okay.
If they have any ideas of how to help with the funding, or would like one-on-ones, I would do one-on-ones for,
Mm-hmm.
just yes, that is, the training is in November, so we have some time.
Right. Right.
But time, summer goes fast.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, we'll definitely put a link below the video and we'll
Thank
get it
you. Thank
promoted
you.
out there and make sure that we can uh, get some people really just are ready for that work. And maybe, are you going to take a group over as well or not?
Um, uh, if there are people that would like to come, that feel like they have something that to offer, I mean, we'd be very open to having them accompany us. But
Mm-hmm.
I am doing a group in Guatemala,
Oh, okay.
end of January, a wonderful retreat training that also includes an add-on beforehand in Antigua, and then afterwards in Tikal, which you can find also on the Breath Logic website. But something else, your viewers, who knows? I mean, why not put it out there?
Yeah. Why not
Um,
join you?
you met Nancy, the
Yeah.
co-founder of Breath Logic. She's such an amazing woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be 82. She has given Breath Logic and this work. I mean, we've worked on 5 continents with
Right.
all kinds of diverse populations, and she's put her heart and her soul into this for probably close to 14 years,
Yeah.
15 years. She's retiring.
Mm-hmm.
So Breath Logic is looking for new board members.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for ways to share, collaborate, take the breath empowerment out. So contact us. We would just love to hear from
Yeah.
you. Do you have any ideas, or
Yeah. I have a few ideas, so I'll shoot
all
them over
right,
to
wonderful. I love your ideas. You are amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, definitely we'll put it out there and see what happens. And yeah, I have a few ideas just rolling through my brain right now. So
Okay.
anyway, but I'll definitely share them with you later, and then you could decide if you want to do any of them or not. It's up to you.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
attached to them. And then we kind of go from there. So
Okay.
yeah, but I really appreciate you coming on to the show and updating what you've been up to. I know you shared earlier that you do spend a lot of time in Ukraine because you lived there for a bit prior to COVID. And
4 years, over 4 years.
yeah, and so your heart's connected to that, to the Ukrainians. And unfortunately, we're they're in this war. They didn't ask for it, but they got it. And now they have to deal with it, right? So they're very resilient and brave and courageous. So we
And
know
they're
they're
also
tired of it.
and
Yeah,
any support and help,
yeah,
they just so appreciate, so appreciate.
yeah.
They don't feel alone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
you can be
it
alone
helps
here
them
too.
keep on keeping on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Well, I'll put it out to you. I'll send you my ideas and let's see if we can get some sparks flying around.
Ah. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
thank you so much, Marilyn. It's always just such a pleasure to connect with you.
yeah,
Thank you for your beautiful work in the world.
yeah. Well, it isn't done yet. We've got a long
No,
way to
no,
go.
no. I think it's going to be stepping up.
Yeah, I'm stepping up.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Okay, girl. Well,
And
thank you.
always let me know any way that I can help you.
Yeah, okay, great. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Mm.
Oh.